Yo, how are you? I hope you're doing well. Whoever you are, wherever you are, whenever you are, however you are. Thanks for clicking on this video. Let's get to it. So, last time we were talking about the world within. And before we expand on that, let's do a quick recap. So, the world within, we're talking about how this whole external world, everything that you can see, feel, touch, taste, whatever, i.e., life itself, it's stored within you, right? It only lives on inside of you, right? Tomorrow is not promised, and yesterday is gone, right? It's really just the now. But the things that are storing that information, the things that are storing that, the only place you can find yesterday is what I'm saying. The only place you can find yesterday is inside of yourself, right? Or with other people, talking to them about yesterday. But it's no longer here, right? So I say it to say that whenever we're gone, whenever we leave, there's a big part of things that are gone with us, right? All these memories that you have, all these recipes that you may know, all these little things that you have learned along the way, these experiences, whether it's small and insignificant or major, they all exist. They all are carried with you, right? They're all carried into today due to you being here, due to your presence. And so there's a precious thing about your presence here, because it's something that can't be replicated. And even if those memories were downloaded by somebody else, say if you're able to extract all your memories and then have your great grandchildren download them, they're not going to be as significant to them. They're not going to have the same, they're not going to understand all the context and nuance to it. So it only is yours. It's yours, right? It's most precious to you. It's valuable to us. So that's a small recap, but let's expand from there. So like I said, yesterday exists within us, right? And along those lines, humanity has a history of passing down knowledge through word of mouth, right? Through storytelling, right? And due to this same reason, right? Nothing is promised, nothing lasts, or things are written into stone, or things are, documented to a degree, because that's the nature of reality. So what I'm saying is that all these stories that are told, this tradition, if you break down the word story, it's something that's stored, right? Something that's stored, some memory, right? It's storage, whatever you want to call it, right? But it's just expressed in a way to where you get that information and now you can store it within yourself eternally, right? Those stories live within yourself, right? Where does yesterday exist? Within you, right? Within those videos and so forth, right? So I said to say that, if you're to leave this planet, a lot of those things would go with you, right? If a small village were wiped off the face of the planet, all of those traditions and customs and lineage and all of the things that they learned and came up with would also be gone with them, right? And a lot of people wouldn't care just due to relativity, right? And if it's not in their realm of consciousness, they're not going to even care because they aren't even aware of it, right? The same thing with humanity. If humanity were wiped off the face of the earth, so much has gone with us, you know what I mean? All of Michael Jackson's greatest hits and catalogs and all of the biggest days of humanity to all the things like 9/11, all these things would just be gone, right? Because they're only relevant to us. Our reality is based upon what we agree that it is as humans. But this whole thing outside of here, it doesn't need humans to exist. It's already going to function, it's going to thrive, probably even more than it does when humans are here, But humans, we have this whole construct mentally of ideas and this whole story that we've all agreed to be a part of, in a sense, or to play in, just due to the power structure. And I'm not saying that we have to dismantle everything and, hey, what else can we do besides this? But I'm just saying that to point out more so the masculine and the feminine and how they work and how neither of them are the ultimate, but they both, it's like a checks and balances, right? They play off each other, yin and yang type shit. So there's so much value on the internal aspect of who you are. The internal being the feminine, being the side that you can't touch, that you can't feel, you can't measure, and so forth, and the external being the opposite, right? So a lot of times we don't put as much value on that feminine side just because we can't touch it, we can't see it, and so forth. And a lot of people don't even realize that it's even there or that it's a thing. But, surprise, there's more feminine energy out here than masculine energy. Your mind, body, and soul, right? Your mind and your soul, that's more feminine energy, like the way that where they function, right? Those things function in a field that is not measurable, right? Your body exists in a field that's measurable. Your body can be contained. Your body can be, so forth. Your mind, not so much. Yeah, people can, damage your brain and whatnot, but you know what I mean? Like, nobody can actually grab your thoughts, Nobody can actually grab your feelings. So there's a lot of value in our internal sides of ourselves. If anything, that's what we really need to be working on more so than the physical aspect. Even though the physical aspect, yes, we should be working on a physical aspect too. But there's a huge aspect of our internal self that can take us a lot further than our bodies can. So with that being said, as far as your bodies go, we are in a state of superposition, right? Your body itself, your actual vehicle, your soul occupying the body. This whole what do you call it? Just base form consciousness, right? You're just you being conscious, right? Not subconscious, I'm talking about just consciously, right? You are in a state of a subposition between what your mind and your body choose to do in every moment. Is the difference between it is the bridge between this internal world and the external world, right? The external world being the masculine, it's measurable, right? These things won't change, right? If I just keep this camera here, nothing is going to change unless something makes it move according to the laws of physics, right? But internally, not so much, right? Internally, your thoughts are constantly changing, your mood's constantly changing, you're constantly having to, that's just how thoughts and things work, right? You can't just, you'd have a lot of focus and concentration if you could just think about one thing and just see it vividly in your head and not have your brain trail off to anything else. But that's just not how it works, right? Your brain's constantly moving. It's just like water or whatever. But so I say it to say that you're in a state of superposition, right? Choice. And by superposition, for those that don't know, it's a metaphysical term, and it talks about when an atom is neither in a space or in a space, right? Or am I saying that right? it's neither there and not there at the same time, right? It's like if a switch is stuck in the middle, right? Not on and off. But you consciously are in a state of superposition, right? You're the one that's driving the ship between the seen and the unseen. You're the physical vessel, right? Because all these things that happen out here are stored within here. And with that, you have that power, you have that choice to allow the external to fuel the internal, and for that to further water the external, or vice versa, whatever, however you want to see it. You have the ability of taking what you see, internalizing it, and then applying it back to what you see. And that's what we do as humans, right? We improve things or we destroy things, right? But we're constantly in that state of doing that. But, us as humans, we get too wrapped up into this power of choice. We get too wrapped up into this power of decision and this consciousness, because we soon start to think that we know everything and we understand everything just because we can label everything. We can just call something a brain and be like, oh yeah, it's your brain. Okay, what else do you want to know about it? I mean, it's your brain, but your brain is actually, it does so much more than just think. It's like it's a conduit between here and the higher realms. Your mind can go much further than just math equations on a piece of paper. You know what I mean? Your body has so many involuntary functions that how can anybody ever think that we know everything about the body when there's so many things that the body does without us even knowing how it works? It works for us already. Your body will heal itself. Your body will put itself to sleep and recharge itself, right? Your body will digest food for you. You don't have to tell it to digest. It'll do everything, and it'll put the nutrients where it needs to go. Humans didn't design this. Humans weren't the ones to be like, okay, like, yeah, this is how this is gonna work. This is how. No, we just live inside these vessels. There's an intelligence well beyond us. There's intelligence well beyond us. And when you look at how things work internally too, like the functions of these organs and stuff, like before I get to that, actually, more about involuntary functions. But I'll say this real quick. I don't care how rich you are, how smart you think you are, or whatever. You can't stop yourself from farting, right? Like, in a sense, like, I don't care how classy or how uppity you might be, you still will never know truly what all the body is capable of doing, the mysteries of the body, right? There's so much more that we don't even understand about our body or the oceans or this planet, you know what I mean? But we think we know everything. So with that in mind, I was going to say about the body, when you look at these organs and stuff, you look at these organic tissues and things, it's crazy, it's it's just crazy when you look at this stuff, because like when you look at computers, okay, you can find a way for it to make sense, right? You can see, okay, it's electricity that's powering the circuit board, it gets spread out through all these things, okay, we got capacitors and all these things, but to make it work. But when you look at the body, it's like, wait, hold on. Wait, where's this thing plug in again? Okay, wait, this little, you're talking about this, so this meaty thing right here can solve anything that you throw at it. And it's just this small. And we got computers that are this big that still can't compete with something that's this small that runs on water and food. And also is edible to a degree. You know what I mean? But it's just that this design of the universe, we come from such a super intelligence, and the super is not even enough of a word. It's such a freaking, whatever you want to call it, and a very, very high level of intelligence that allowed our bodies to have cells that divide and to create all these organs just from something this small. Humans, we can't do that, and if we did, we'd be exploiting it left and right, making money off of it. And it's probably a good thing that we don't know all of these things, right? Because you already know what they're doing with clone meat and everything already. So that's just how humans operate. But there's a divine nature to us. There's a divine aspect to all of us, that we are holding the space. We are the anchors of our ancestors. We are the living anchors between today and tomorrow, and the past and yesterday, right? That is our function here. That's a huge part of what we're doing. And the internal world, even on the external world, right? It's all about how things look and stuff, right? How people look, their faces, their beauty and all that stuff. But internally, you open that shit up, you're like, what the fuck? Like, if you didn't know what all these organs were, you'd be like, what the hell? That's what's going on inside of us? You know what I mean? Like, damn, that's just hella complicated. And the internal world within us spiritually has so much depth to it as well, right? It has so much function to it as well. It's just that we are trained and we are in a society where it's more based upon outward appearances. It's not based upon what goes on internally. There's a lot of suffering. There's a lot of suffering in silence. There's a lot of trauma. There's a lot of things that people are dealing with that we just don't share with one another. And it's fine. I understand why we are in a place that we are. But there has to be more understanding and dialogue about these things too, because they are just a part of our world just as much as anything that you can measure. And if anything, they affect us more. All these things come from internally, right? The way people behave, when people act out, when people do things, it comes from a place that's internal. A lot of people just look at the external things and are just like, oh, they're misbehaving. They got a problem. What's wrong with them? Like, what are they doing? But a lot of times those things they're results of something else that's already happening. But I don't want this to go too long. We'll end this video here. And we may expand more on this topic. I do like talking about this thing, but I hope this video did something for y'all. And I'll see y'all soon. Take care.